Chase is the world's largest credit card issuer, so of course, I decided to rank every single card. Buckle up to find out what I really think about the Chase credit card lineup. Welcome in. In this video, I'm going to rank 21 of Chase's most popular personal, airline, and hotel credit cards in their portfolio. What I want to get down to is what's actually good, what's not worth your time, and what cards do not ever deserve a spot in your wallet. We're going to divide the rankings into categories between personal, airline, and hotel credit cards. Within those categories, I'm going to put every single Chase card on the tier list and tell you what the use case is for the card, what makes it a superstar card, or what makes it just so terrible. One final note on these rankings, a disclaimer if you will. I'm ranking these cards based on how valuable Chase has made them for most people. You may have a really specific use case for a card where you're able to get a ton out of it, but most other people couldn't tap into a card like that. In that example, that card's gonna get a bad ranking because it doesn't work well for most. I'm gonna be as upfront and honest as I can. Let's go. Our first credit card category is going to be the personal card lineup from Chase. And we'll start that with perhaps the card that Chase most wants you to get first in its lineup, the Chase Freedom Unlimited. The Freedom Unlimited is Chase's foundational card. It comes with a $0 annual fee and earns you 5% on travel through Chase Travel, 3% on dining, 3% on drugstores, and 1.5% back on everything else. It's got a standard $200 welcome offer upon sign up. The bottom line with this card is if you bank with Chase and want to get your foot into the door, the Chase Freedom Unlimited is the card you should go with almost every single time. Typically, I would never recommend a card that earns 1.5% cash back above any other card. 2% is the standard here, but what sets the Freedom Unlimited apart? Well, there's a few key reasons. First of all, this card is unique compared to other simple cashback cards because it does have elevated categories, especially in dining, which is a pretty high spend area for most people. Second of all, the card doesn't only earn cash back. It actually earns points which can be redeemed for cash back, but it can also set you up very well later for Chase's ecosystem, which is heavily travel based, and you can take those points and later redeem them for higher values with other more impressive Chase cards. Because of its simplicity, elevated earning categories, and the possibility to unlock better and bigger cards through Chase, I'm gonna give this card an A tier rating. Next up is the second card in the Freedom lineup, and that's the Chase Freedom Flex. This card also comes with a $0 annual fee and a standard $200 welcome bonus as well. This is the slightly more complicated Freedom card, and it's best served for someone who's really starting to build out their wallet a little bit more. The Freedom Flex is known for its 5% back on rotating categories. Other than that, it earns the same multipliers that the Freedom Unlimited does, but only 1% on the catch-all everything else category. The key with the Freedom Flex and its rotating categories is those are the big ones that people get this card for. However, even though the categories are very common and they're easy for most people to take advantage of, you have to activate them before use, and you're tapped out at the 5% elevated rate, only up to $1,500 in spend every 3 months. That's why I hardly ever recommend this card by itself, but it can be used really effectively in a setup designed to maximize your earnings on your regular spending. That's why I put this card firmly in the B tier. Next up is the first in the Sapphire family of cards, and that is going to be the Chase Sapphire Preferred, a $95 annual fee that is Chase's jump into entry-level travel. This card offers a standard 60,000 point welcome bonus, but in 2024, we've noticed Chase start to play with this bonus a whole lot more. We've seen some very high offers, and most recently, a travel credit for $300 added onto that 60,000 point welcome offer. The bottom line is to check the link below down in the description to see what it currently is when you're watching this video. If you have a chance to jump at a higher offer, it could be really, really valuable. This card earns 5x back on Chase Travel booked through the Chase Travel portal. It earns 3x back on dining, 3x on online groceries, 3x on streaming, 2x back on travel outside of Chase, and 1x back on everything else. The two biggest benefits that come with this card are a $50 hotel credit, which I like to say reduces it to a $45 effective annual fee card. Not bad for a card with so many benefits and that welcome bonus, but the card also brings with it a 25% boost on every single point you earn when redeemed in Chase Travel. The bottom line is that this card has a super generous sign-up bonus. It's got an easy to use hotel credit, and it's got valuable earnings categories in a lot of frequently spent in areas. This card was one of my most foundational credit cards and allowed me to take an unbelievable vacation completely on the points I earned just from the sign-up bonus, and that's why this card maxes out my rankings. It's an S tier card. Let's move to the Chase Sapphire Reserve. At $550, is the Reserve that much better than the Sapphire Preferred? Is it worth it? This card earns 10x back on hotels and rental cars inside of Chase Travel. It earns 10x back on Chase dining purchases, 5x back on flights through Chase Travel, 3x on restaurants, 3x on all other travel, and 1x on everything else. It comes right out of the box with a $300 annual travel credit, meant to reduce that fee to an effective $250. It is hands down the most easy to use travel credit because you can burn it on anything that categorizes as travel, inside or outside of Chase. With a 50% boost inside of Chase Travel on every single Chase point you earn, and some solid lounge access through Priority Pass and the Chase Sapphire Lounge by the club, it certainly makes a case for a really good top-tier travel card. However, in my opinion, it does fall short in terms of lounge access and super premium benefits compared to the Platinum card, and it doesn't earn as much on everyday spending as the Venture X. Since this card doesn't compete well against those two top-tier travel cards, and the only reason I'd recommend it to somebody is if they were all in on Chase, I have to give it a B tier rating. It's not bad, but it's not the best of the best. Let's move out of the Sapphire family onto the Disney Visa cards. These cards are super underrated, but is there a reason why people don't talk about them regularly? There are two tiers to the Disney Visa cards. One is a $0 annual fee card, which earns a welcome bonus usually between $150 and $200. The $0 annual fee Disney card earns you 10% off purchases at disneystore.com and Disney outlet stores, and 1% in Disney rewards dollars on all other purchases. One of the few benefits on this card is free pictures with Disney characters when you go and visit a theme park. And unfortunately, since we're jumping to that benefit, the card doesn't have much else to offer. What makes it worse? The rewards rates for regular spending are terrible, and Disney rewards dollars can only be redeemed for select Disney things. Needless to say, it's in the F tier. What about the Disney Premier Visa? You could pay $49 for the annual fee for the elevated version of this card. This card does increase the earnings. You get 10% off purchases at disneystore.com and Disney outlets, 5% in reward dollars on Disney Plus, Hulu or ESPN Plus, which is a better use case, and 2% in Disney rewards dollars at gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants before getting 1x on everything else. Even though we have seen the highest welcome bonuses on a $49 card being up to $400, because the fact that your rewards dollars are so limited in what you can spend them on, and there are just better Chase cards out there, even if you just want to spend your rewards at Disney, that doesn't make this card a buy for anybody. Unfortunately, it's also in the F tier. Moving on to the Amazon Visa. This is a $0 annual fee card, and it gets a ton of exposure because of its affiliation with Amazon.com. However, is the $60 Amazon gift card given to you instantly upon approval worth getting this card and filling up a slot in your wallet? The card earns 3% back on Amazon.com and Chase Travel, 2% back on gas, restaurants, and local transit, and 1% back on everything else. The bottom line is that even though it does have a few elevated earnings categories, including a 3% on Amazon.com, I have a much better card coming up for you next. So don't fall for the $60 Amazon card upon sign up. Get the next Amazon card if you're considering getting an Amazon credit card. This card is in the D tier. Now here is a card worth talking about. The Amazon Prime Visa. Also a $0 annual fee. However, you must be a Prime member to carry this card. It comes with higher perks and benefits and a $200 welcome offer. This card gets 10% back on rotating categories at Amazon.com. It also gets 5% back at Amazon.com, Chase Travel, Whole Foods, and Amazon Fresh. It earns 2% back on gas stations, restaurants, and local transit, and then 1% back on everything else. Now, while I would never recommend using a card that earns a consistent 1% on anything, I do recommend finding great cards with super high earnings categories that are uncapped that you use frequently at merchants that you can get that super high earning category in. Amazon.com, I found for a lot of people, is one of those retailers and one of those categories. Not to mention there's a whole other use case for people who go to Whole Foods and the benefit that 5% off of those grocery purchases could get you, all for a $0 annual fee. It really cannot be matched for people who use those brands and spend at those services often. This is an incredible card for a multi-card setup in your wallet, and that's why I'm putting it in the A tier. Welcome to part 2, Chase's airline credit cards. Now in this video, I'm going to stay on the Southwest and the United branded cards. They're the two most popular airlines for people who want to use Chase that we have here in the United States. And Chase has some options for you if you want to save big on flights and also get a few special perks. However, don't just go and get the first airline card from Chase you see, because there is a massive range between the good ones that stand out and the ones that are quite terrible. Let's check in on the Southwest Rapid Rewards credit card. This is the lowest annual fee card in the Southwest family, costing you $69 every single year to hold. It earns 2x back in Southwest purchases, 2x rapid rewards on hotels or car rentals, 2x in local transit and rideshare, as well as internet, cable, phone, and streaming, and then 1x back on everything else. Like a lot of airline cards, don't pay too much attention to the multipliers back on spending. They're usually terrible, and all of the Southwest and United cards really aren't a big exception to that rule. Airline cards really stand out because of their benefits and also oftentimes what the sign-up bonuses can be used for. The big value that some people know about with the Southwest cards is their ability to earn points towards Companion Pass status. Now, I have a few videos on earning Companion Pass status the most efficient way, and that buy one get one free ticket, that can always be best earned by pairing up Southwest Airlines credit cards. That's why this card has one great use case, and then after that, there aren't a ton of reasons to hold it. That puts it in the C tier. Next up is the $99 Southwest Rapid Rewards Premier Card. I'm not completely sure why this card exists. I'll let you look on the screen at the earnings categories, but it kind of sits awkwardly in between the Plus and the premium version of the card. I don't recommend it as the card to go to for Companion Pass, and the Priority card, which is the highest tier Southwest card, is the one I recommend for someone who wants to keep and hold a Southwest Airlines card. Because it's lost in the middle, I have to place it inside the D tier. Sorry, Southwest Premier Card. This leaves the Southwest Rapid Rewards Priority Credit Card at an $149 annual fee as the last of the 3 Southwest personal cards to look at. Most people don't know that the Priority card actually pays for itself every single year. It's the only Southwest Airlines credit card to do that, meaning, in my case, I'm okay with it if you get this card, add it to your wallet, and then kind of hold it there and pay the annual fee every single year, because the value should return as long as you fly Southwest a few times a year. You'll earn 3x on Southwest purchases, 2x rapid rewards on hotel, car rental, also local transit and rideshare, internet, cable, phone, and streaming, and 1x back on everything else. Very similar to the earnings rates in the other Southwest cards. However, where this card sticks out is every card member anniversary, you'll get 7,500 rapid rewards bonus points. That's worth about $75 to $95 when redeemed for flights. Then, just for holding the card, you also get an annual $75 travel credit. Between those two things, you're gonna pay for that $149 fee just in the benefits that it gives you right there. So there's really no negative to have this in your wallet. Plus, you can get the sign-up bonus and then accumulate rapid rewards points at an elevated rate when you buy Southwest flights. It's not a bad card to have. That's why it's going into the B tier. Now let's move to United, starting off with their $0 annual fee United Gateway card. There's not a lot to say about this card. It's a beginner's card, and you can tell that through the annual fee. It earns 7x back on United flights, 2x miles on all other United purchases, 3x on hotel stays booked with United hotels, 2x miles at gas stations, 2x miles on local transit, and 1x back on everything else. Now, because it doesn't have any other benefits and pretty poor earnings, There's not a great reason for anybody to get this card unless they just slowly wanted to get into United credit cards but didn't want to take a big leap into an annual fee. The one good thing I can say about this card is, compared to its brethren at the $0 annual fee level in other competing airlines, it does offer a higher sign-up bonus. Just for that, I won't put it in the E or the F tier. This card belongs in the D tier. Up next, as you climb the United card ladder, is the United Explorer card. The annual fee on the first year is completely waived, which means only starting in the second year and every year thereafter will you pay an annual fee of $95. It has a welcome bonus that hovers around 50,000 miles, so that's going to be worth about $500 to $600 when redeemed for travel. I actually really like this card, and let me tell you exactly why. It's got some interesting earnings rates. It gets you 7x back on United flights, 2x miles back on all other United purchases, 4x back on hotel stays booked with United Hotels, 2x miles back on other hotel stays, 2x miles on dining, and 1x miles on everything else. Again, I would never use this card by itself, but if you want to earn United miles, I would use it in some of those elevated categories. Where this card really starts to excel is the benefits that it offers though. You get your first checked bag free. You also get 2 United Club passes a year. It also gets you a $100 global entry or TSA pre-check credit and priority boarding. All of that for a $95 annual fee card is very impressive. Not only will you make up the annual fee in the value, but you also start to get some perks and benefits that nicer cards often offer that you don't see at the $95 price point. For those reasons, this is an A-tier credit card. Well done, United, with the formation and creation of this card. You would think that moving on to the United Quest card for a $250 annual fee, this would be a card that stands out even more. However, surprisingly, United completely went the other way and dropped the ball when creating this card. This card earns 8x miles on United flights, 3x miles on all other United purchases, 2x miles back on all other travel, 2x on dining and streaming, and 1x back on everything else. It takes away from the $250 annual fee right off the bat with a $125 annual United purchase credit. It also gives you up to 10,000 miles in award flight credits. You get your first and second checked bags free, as well as priority boarding. Finally, the card also offers that $100 TSA pre-check or global entry credit. However, this card offers, strangely, no lounge access whatsoever, which for a Chase card at $250 being one of the higher tiered offering cards, to not have that and be missing out, it's actually a little disappointing considering its little brother at $95 after the first year offers United Club access, but the $250 card does not in any form. It makes no sense, and I don't see the use case for many people to land at this spot in the United lineup. Therefore, it's got to be put into the C tier. However, if you want the best of the best out of United, you can get the United Infinite credit card. That comes with a $525 annual fee. It also generally comes with the highest welcome bonus in the United lineup, around 80,000 United miles. It earns 9x miles back on United flights, 4x miles on all other United purchases, 4x miles on United hotels, 2x miles on delivery services, and 1x back on everything else. The benefit list starts to get long. You'll get United Club membership, so access for the card holder and 2 guests into United Clubs, which can be very competitive lounges in the whole scheme of things. First and second bags flying free, along with a TSA pre-check and global entry credit. You get an IHG statement credit, as well as IHG One Rewards Platinum Elite status. You'll get President's Club status through Avis, and a 10% discount on United Economy Saver Award. Between all of that, the main use case on this card is obviously for the frequent United flyer. I see that as being a small proportion of the people who are actually even watching this video today, but because of the long list of benefits, and United lounges usually being a significant step up from general priority pass lounges, which are offered on general travel cards, I could really make a strong case for how the card's built. However, where it falls short is you're going to be paying to hold it. There are no great use cases to eat into the annual fee, so up front, you're gonna feel the fee hitting your wallet and not having an easy way to recoup that on the back end. That puts it solidly in the middle in the C tier. Moving into the last area of credit cards for Chase, this category, which are hotel cards, surprised me the most out of anything. In hotel cards, you can find some real clunkers, but for the right person, you can find some absolute gems, and I think that's what we have here with Chase. I'm gonna get you started with an absolute clunker in the Marriott Bonvoy Bold. This card does enough to give you a taste of Marriott, I guess, but leaves a ton to be desired. It'll get you 14 points back at Marriott, 2x back at grocery stores, 2x back at ride shares and food delivery, and 2x in streaming, internet, cable, and phone. The card comes with Silver Elite status, which is Marriott's base level status, so not really much benefit there. I want you to remember that when you see these high earning rates on credit cards, remember that Marriott points when redeemed traditionally can get you about 0.7 to 0.9 cents per point. So keep that in mind when you're seeing super high multipliers on the following cards. Because this card doesn't get you much through spending or benefits, I see no reason to hold it, and I don't think you should either. That lands it in the F tier. The Marriott Bonvoy Boundless does restore a lot of my confidence back into the Chase branded Marriott credit cards. This card has the infamous 5 free night offer from time to time, and you can redeem those points for rooms worth up to 50,000 points. For a $95 annual card to provide you 5 free nights at sometimes an incredibly luxury room, that should be all you need to know about the value initially when you get this card. It also is going to get you 17x points at Marriott, 3x points on the first 6,000 spent in groceries, gas, and dining, and 2x points on all other purchases. It also gets you Silver Elite status, but the card is sustainable. When I say sustainable, that means you can carry it and not have the annual fee hit you and hurt you just by holding it, because it does offer an annual free night every single year. A $95 card, an incredible welcome bonus, a sustainable card. What more do you need? I don't need anything else, which means it's going into my A tier status. After that is the Marriott Bonvoy Bountiful card. There's a reason you don't hear too much about this $250 annual fee card. It earns 18.5x back on Marriott hotels, 4x back on groceries and dining up to the first 15K in a year, and 2x back on all other purchases. It does get you Gold Elite status, which offers room upgrades and late checkout. It also does come with 15 Elite Night credits towards status. Now, because of the earnings multipliers in so many useful categories, you may actually be able to use this card to get some decent regular spend used towards Marriott points. That could be a good use case for someone who wants this card and really likes Marriott and doesn't want to have a complicated wallet, or maybe even just wants one credit card. I personally would not recommend that strategy, but I think for some people out there, that may fit their style. The problem for most people is to hold this card and get a free night out of it, you have to spend a ton on the card. In fact, $15,000 in a year to get that free night triggered. That's just not a good deal at all. That means this card goes into the D tier. Looking at the last few Chase Hotel credit cards, we're gonna get into the world of Hyatt credit card. This card has a $95 annual fee, and a standard welcome offer is the uber valuable 60,000 World of Hyatt points. Now that welcome offer often breaks into tiers. 30,000 when you meet an initial sign-up bonus, and then 30 more thousand after spending 15K on the card. Now, everybody loves World of Hyatt points because they're so incredibly valuable. This card will earn you 9x on Hyatt hotels, 2x on restaurants and airlines, even ones booked directly with airlines, 2x on local transit and commuting, 2x on fitness clubs, and 1x back on everything else. You'll also receive one free category 1 to 4 night every single year, and an additional free night if you hit that 15K in spend each year. Now, I like the flexibility this card has. Obviously, Hyatt points are valuable. I said that 3 times in the last minute, but I love hotel cards that come with one free night, and if you wanted to spend a little bit more on the card and hit that 15K threshold, you're gonna get a second free night. That, with stacking a few more points, that could realistically pay for some all-inclusive vacations for you at those incredible Hyatt properties. That may be your style, it may not be, but I think this card is not a bad option for people who wanna get it. That means I'm putting it inside the B tier. Last but not least, we've got the 2 IHG rewards card. The first is the IHG 1, which is a $0 annual fee. In my opinion, IHG just doesn't have the best lineup of hotels. However, if you do like their properties, I think their credit cards could work well for you. The $0 annual fee card earns 17x back on IHG purchases, 3x back on dining, utilities, streaming services, and gas stations, and 2x back on all of their purchases. It gets you Silver Elite status and 10,000 bonus points after spending 10K every year. On this card, you can also redeem award points for 3 nights and then get the 4th free. That's a pretty big benefit. Mentally with IHG points, take the standard multiplier and cut it in half because IHG rewards points are only worth about half a cent, half the value of a typical credit card point. Once you get past that, you look at this card and it can have a really nice sign-up bonus. So don't be afraid to click the link below. Check that out and see what you're being offered today. Because that sign-up bonus can be so big, and if you prefer to stay at IHG hotels, this card's not gonna kill you by adding it to your wallet, which means I'm putting it in the C tier. The card that really makes the difference in the IHG lineup is the IHG One Premier Rewards credit card. This card comes with only a $99 annual fee and offers some incredible value. You'll get 26 points back at IHG hotels and resorts. Remember, that's more equivalent to 13% back in regular credit card value. It also comes with 5x back on travel, dining, and gas stations, and 3x back on everything else. The benefits are huge. You get Platinum Elite status, which includes complimentary upgrades, an anniversary free night, up to a 40,000 point cap, a $100 statement credit, and 10,000 bonus points once you spend $20,000 in a calendar year, a global entry in TSA PreCheck, $50 of United Airlines Travel Bank cash each year, and that really helpful redeem 3 nights, earn the 4th one free. Saying all those benefits one after another made my mouth dry. When you have a card with that many benefits and it comes at a reasonable annual fee, if you like IHG hotels, you gotta get this card. For all that, I rate it in the A tier, and it's a hidden gem in the Chase lineup. Now that I've ranked every single Chase card, I wanna hear what you think. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more exciting videos like this one.